Jim, not one for the purists, but a massive 3 points nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously we want to play better and we want to be creating, more clear-cut opportunities in front of goal. But, we're at that stage of the season where we've got a lot of players playing through injuries. There's a lot of fatigue in the group, as you would imagine, no different to any other team out there. But what the players have shown in recent weeks is a real resilience, a really good organisation, and a commitment to putting their bodies on the line to protect the goal. So, there's two sides to football. You've got to be defensively solid if you want to be successful, and I think that's always a really good foundation to build from. But certainly going forward and in possession we can improve, but I'm not going to be too critical of the players. There's a lot at stake today for both teams. Obviously St Johnstone fighting for their lives at the bottom end of the table, and us wanting to apply a bit of pressure to Hibs and Aberdeen in the fixtures tomorrow. So the players got the job done. Okay, today the goals from a set play, it's a big part of the game. It's something that we work extremely hard on in training. We've got great delivery coming in, very aggressive attacking the ball, and delighted for Manny Adebiega to be able to get the all-important goal. It could have been more comfortable in the second half. We had a couple of other chances. Gal's disappointed with one he had from a wide free kick. Louis Moult has had one cleared off the line. So yes, it would be nice one day to be going into the last 15 minutes 2 or 3 goals up and able to relax a bit more than what I've been able to do in the last 3 weeks.
The way that St Johnstone obviously set up means that you need to get the press from the front right, and we definitely did that. I mean, even the goal that we score comes from the corner, and they concede that because they've slashed the ball out of play under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, look, I really like the way that Simo Valakari has his team set up and the way that he wants them to play. I think it's really brave. I think they have at times this season, played their way into trouble, and the whole thing today out of possession was about trying to be aggressive at the top end of the pitch, and the work rate of the front three with Trapanovsky, Middleton and Dalby backed up by the two midfielders. It really made life a lot easier for our backlads because we were putting them under so much pressure, forcing them to go long, and when they did go long, then the back three were able to win those aerial duels. So it takes a lot of physical effort in terms of the fitness levels, but we certainly forced St Johnstone into playing longer than what they would normally have liked, and just delighted with the result.
Obviously 3 victories on the spin, but also 3 clean sheets, as you touch on there. That'll arguably please you more.
Yeah, man, look, I really like the organisation and the discipline of the team. It doesn't happen just by coincidence. We work hard on it in training in terms of the communication, trying to make sure that the distances are right between the back line and the midfield, making sure that the players are doing the basics well, continuously drumming home that message about being good defenders first, and we've shown that in the last 3 weeks. Jack Walton today, I don't think he's had a single save to make because of the effort from the players in front of him. So yeah, I mean, look, people can moan about us not scoring more goals and not creating more chances, but as I said, there are two sides to football. Yes, we want to improve on the possession side of it and we want to be better, but I do think that good defensive structure is a great foundation to start from.
The fact that we've won 11 league games this season just by a single goal, what does that say about the way that this group are able to manage games and handle the pressure later on?
I think there's a good confidence and a lot of belief within the group that if we do score, that we can shut up shop and make life difficult for the opponent. And I think today was just another example of that. I mean, look, it takes a lot of hard work. It's not by chance. The players have to really buy into what we're asking them to do, and they certainly have done that all season. I think to be standing here right now, sitting on 50 points, before the post-split fixtures. I mean, I don't know how often Dundee United have ever had a points total like that after 33 games, but I can't imagine it's happened too often. So, we've come in for a bit of criticism during the season, particularly probably in the last, from the turn of the year. Performances hadn't been good enough, results hadn't been good enough, and that criticism has been justified. But, I think of late, the supporters certainly today turning out in great numbers to get behind the group. I think they appreciate the effort of the players. There's nobody saying that we can't get better, and that's something that we have to work hard on this summer in terms of the recruitment strategy. Trying to always improve, not to be satisfied with what we've got, continuously trying to move the club forward. And I think, the strides that we've made in just a couple of seasons is probably a lot quicker than a lot of people would have anticipated.
The fact that we've taken 9 points from 9 in the last 3 weeks as well must mean that confidence is really high in the dressing room, and that's so important going into this time of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it was important that we did win all three when you look at the table right now, because any slip up in any of those last 3 games, then it would have made catching Hibs in third extremely difficult. But the fact that we've been able to win the last 3 games keeps that pressure on the 2 teams above us. And that's all we can do at this stage. We're relying on 1 or 2 favours from other teams in order for them to slip up and then us to capitalise on that. But it was nice to have a Saturday fixture, for a change. I feel like we've played a hell of a lot of Sunday games of late. We've always been the team chasing because Hibs and Aberdeen have had positive results the day before. Today now the shoe is on the other foot. We've been able to apply a bit of pressure to them, which is pleasing.
Maybe feels like this break's come at the wrong time, unfortunately.
Well, it has and it hasn't. I mean, look, we're still having to go without key players today. Vico Sevelj and Ross Graham. I mean, 2 really important players for us, and we haven't overly missed them. I think that's credit to the group. That's again boils down to the recruitment that we done in the summer, that we were able to sign players that could step in if needed. And Sam Harding started the second game in the space of a couple of weeks. That's 2 clean sheets for the big fella. Ross Docherty, we've had to go huge parts of the season without our leader in the middle of the pitch, but he shows what he brings to the table in the last 3 games. It's no coincidence that we've kept the clean sheets. He was my man of the match today. I don't want to take anything away from Sam, but Ross Docherty in there in the engine room, he was the driving force in getting us up the pitch, and then in the last 10 minutes he makes an unbelievable tackle on the edge of the 18-yard box, and he shows what it means to him, but also what it means to the whole group, to make sure that we keep this club in the position that it's in, and not be satisfied with that, but keep trying to drive us forward and trying to really catch the teams above us.
Just finally, a wee bit of bad news on Luca Stevenson, unfortunately. That was his last game for the club today. He's going in for a hernia operation on Wednesday, so I'll just give you the chance to say thanks for all his contributions.
Yeah, I mean, it is extremely disappointing to lose Luca at this stage, with only 5 games to go, but we've tried to keep it out of the press as much as we can, because obviously we don't want to be telling opposition about what players are having to play with. But Luca has been suffering with a double hernia for about the last 4 months. Liverpool have been brilliant, I have to say. They've allowed Luca to manage it himself, and credit to the boy and the kind of resilience and determination that he has shown in order to play through the pain barrier for the club. And I think he's been one of our standout performers, one of our most consistent players week to week, can play a number of different positions, and would never let you down. So I am disappointed to lose him, but also really grateful to him for what he has given the jersey since he's came in. He's been an absolute pleasure to work with. Liverpool are very lucky to have him, and we wish him well with the surgery next week. I know he'll be back up at the end of the season for the Player of the Year awards. I would imagine he'll be in the running for 1 or 2 of those, and we'll miss him, but it's an opportunity for somebody else within the group.